Hey Zwifters, welcome to No Breakaways, your source for all the Zwift racing tips and tricks. Super excited to cover round 3 of the WTRL Zwift Racing League on the UCI Richmond circuit, one of my absolute favorite circuits. Got a lot of flat, got some super punchy climb. It's going to be a great week for racing. Here's a look at the VeloViewer overview of the course. This is how we've been typically taking a look at these courses, but honestly, I don't think it does it justice this week. So I went on over to Zwift Hub and grabbed this look at the course. I think this does a little bit better job of illustrating just what we're up against this week. Race starts out very flat. We're going to go downhill, come through 10K, and then we have Libby Hill and 23rd Street. As everybody knows who's raced this course, this is where the race is going to be won and lost. Then after that, it's not labeled, but you got a big uphill drag to the start-finish line up Governor's Hill. It's going to be a tough one this week, but it's going to be a fun one. Something really important to talk about are the intermediate points available to the riders in the Zwift Racing League. These are the points awarded to the 1st through 5th riders through different important banners on the course. First place gets 5 points, 5th place gets 1 point. These intermediate points are really going to make things interesting this week because there are 4 spots in the course where you can actually get these intermediate points. At each spot in the course, there are 15 total points available, making 120 intermediate points available overall in this race. You're going to see a lot of team tactics involved in trying to get as many of these intermediate points as you can. You're going to see attacks going off the front at much different places than you would in a normal race without these points. It's going to be really fun. I'm really excited to see how it plays out. Okay, here we go. Right now we're passing where you come out from the start pens. Out of the pens, you take a right, you head towards the start-finish banner. Very, very, very flat start of this course. You can take it easy right here, get settled in, get in the draft. Here we come. You can see the sprint banner on the left-hand side on the other side of the road. You go up and around that hairpin you can see in the mini-map on the right, and then come down towards that sprint point. If you're trying to get these intermediate points, you got to be in position right here, get around that corner well, and follow some wheels to that to try to get those points. Okay, we're coming up on the Broad Street sprint point. Take a look at the mini-map up in the right-hand corner. You can see that right-hand turn. From that right-hand turn, you have 0.6 kilometers to go until you hit the sprint banner. This would be a really good place to start your lead-out train if you're trying to get those intermediate sprint points. Let's jump ahead to see what it looks like. All right, everybody, here we go. We're coming up on the sprint point, and you start your sprint right there. As you can see, it's a pretty long drag, probably 20 to 25 seconds to get to that line. It's going to be a tough one. A lot of people are going to be fighting for these points. After Broad Street, not long till you get to the downhill. Here we go. This is a nice place. You'll be able to catch a really nice super tuck, save a couple watts. We have a video coming out this weekend on super tucking and coasting that you can check it out if you want to refine your super tuck skills. After the downhill, it's really flat here on the bottom except for this one little feature. It actually kicks up to 8%, and I've seen people get spit out the back here. So make sure that you are paying attention for this little bit of a gradient, then a 2% kicker. It's not really a big deal. You can sit in the draft, you can float right over it, but I have seen people get spit out the back at this point. All right, here we go. Here's Libby Hill. Really tough climb. As you can see, it's straight and it's not that sharp at the bottom. Once you get to that first right-hand turn and you hit those cobbles is when things really start to heat up. All right, here we go, the start of Libby Hill. As you can see up in the right-hand corner, the gradient doesn't really kick up high, only about 4%. It will get up to 8 on this flat part, but really the race up the hill starts when people make that right-hand turn and it changes to cobbles. All right, here we are switching over to the cobbles. You're going to see people really make a move right here. This is when the power really, really kicks up. Let's fast forward to a little bit closer to the end. Here we are coming to the end. You have this right-hand turn, and then it's that kick into that banner. You're going to have to be going all out here if you want to get those intermediate sprint points. It's going to be a very important point of the course. People are going to be going really, really hard. Here are my expected times for Libby Hill. Big shout out to Joe for helping me talk through some of the A times and what we've seen in the big races. What I did is I went back and I looked through the SCR Autumn Series that also did 2 laps of this course. That was a pretty good indication of what I think we're going to see here. Although the one big difference I would expect is because those prime points are available over these hills, they could see people going off the front even harder. For Cat A, I'm expecting to see somewhere between 1 minute and 1:05, at least 8.6 watts per kilogram for this climb. It's going to be really tough. This is where the attrition starts in this race. You aren't going to see the race on the first lap 1 on Libby Hill, but you are going to see a lot of people coming off the back who can't get reattached. On the second lap, though, Libby Hill will most likely be a decisive climb in the race, where you see a front group split away and maybe hold it till the end. Cat B, probably between 115 and 120 at 6.5 watts per kilogram. For the Cat A women, I wasn't quite sure because I couldn't find a good race where it was women only for 2 laps of the Richmond circuit. So I took a guess, probably between 115 and 125 at 7 watts per kilogram. Honestly, I could see them going a little bit faster than this, depending on how hard someone wants to push up that hill. On Cat C, my guess is 130 to 135 at 5 watts per kg, and Cat D, 150 to 205 at 3.9. After you go over that Libby Street hill, you're going to find a really nice spot for a super tuck coming right down here. You take that left, you'll be able to super tuck all the way down to the base of 23rd Street Hill. All right, 23rd Street Hill, you take a right, and then you have a little bit of a flat area where you're going to have to pedal. Make sure you stay stuck on the back of the group here. This next right, 23rd Street Hill starts. I would highly suggest getting a little bit of a run at 23rd Street Hill. Try to carry some momentum. It's going to make your climb easier if you can go into this fast. I've gone into this in the back of a pack before, and it makes it really, really difficult. I took a look at the 23rd Street Hill expected times, and warning that these are going to be incredibly variable, and I would pay more attention to the watts per kilogram that are going to be required for you to make it up this hill with the top group. In Cat A, you're talking probably between 21 and 23 seconds at 11 watts per kg. Cat B, 25 to 27 seconds at 9 watts per kg. The Cat A women, the data isn't quite as clear, but I'm guessing they're going to be about the same as Cat B, 25 to 27 seconds, 9 watts per kg. This one I wouldn't be surprised if it was faster with a higher watt per kg. Cat C, 30 to 33 seconds at 6.4 watts per kg, and Cat D, 45 to 50 seconds at 4.2 watts per kilogram. We're over the top of 23rd Street. You're going to take a left, and then there's a really, really nice downhill here where you're going to get to super tuck. Highly suggest saving as many watts as you possibly can. You got Governor Street coming up next, which is a deceptively difficult, long climb into the start-finish line. We're about to start the Governor Street climb into the start-finish line. This is a very difficult portion of the course and a place where, if you're a high watt per kg person, you really want to push to tail off those sprinters, especially the second lap. Don't leave it to the end. Push, push, push this hill and see if you can break people. If you're a sprinter, you better just be hanging on for dear life. There's a couple little turns that take a lot longer than you think it's going to when you look at the mini map. Take this left-hand turn and you have 0.6 kilometers into the finish. I know I personally always really struggle with this finish because of that slow uphill into that finish banner that just never seems to come. Really difficult finish, but a really fun finish, and I think a really nice course for a lot of different kinds of people to shine this week. Really looking forward to it. All right, I called Eric over at Zwift Insider again, and he was kind enough to send us his bike choices. Let's see what he has to say.
Hey Zwifters, Eric from Zwift Insider here. Richmond's UCI course. You know, it's my favorite race course, even though it kicks my butt every time. Those 3 climbs at the end are so tough. Bike recommendations. Frames and wheel set recommendations for Richmond. Here's what I'm going with. I'm going to use the new Canyon Aeroad 2021. Nice, it's the lightest, the best climber in game, but it's super aero as well. And I'm going to use, here's the interesting wheel choice for you, the ENVE 7.8s. Perform super well. They're good climbers, but they're also quite aero. So Aeroad plus ENVE 7.8, that combination is only 3 seconds slower on a full lap of Richmond compared to the very fastest bikes. But here's the thing, is that combination climbs a little faster than those very fastest bikes. And the climbs are the most important parts of this route. That's where the attacks are going to happen. That's where the selections are going to be made. So any advantage you can get on the climbs is going to help you, especially if you're like me. You're a little bit, shall we say, over-muscled, and you need all the help you can get on those climbs. A couple other good options if you're a level 15 or below and you can't get those wheels or that frame. I would go with the Specialized Allay Sprint. It's a great climber, but also pretty aero. It's a fast bike. And the Zip 808 wheels, which are just a solid race wheel. So that's a good one for more beginner Zwifters. And the old standbys for flatter races, the Venge S-Works, any of those fast frames coupled with a disc wheel set, that'll give you a really fast time. Just going to be a little slower on the climbs, on those important climbs, than a more lightweight setup. The Tron as well. Tron's going to turn in about the same time as the Venge with discs, but both will lose a bit on the climb to a good all-around setup. All right, guys, good luck in the race. I'll see you out there.
So as I mentioned before, I took a look at the SZR Autumn Series back when they raced 2 laps of the Richmond UCI Worlds. That's a very, very competitive series. There were almost 400 people in the entire race. So these times should be pretty indicative of what we're going to see out there in the Zwift Racing League. I'm expecting Cat A to finish their 2 laps in 41 to 42 minutes, averaging about 4.7 watts per kilogram to stay in that top pack. Again, this can be wildly variable depending on how these guys are riding, who's pushing hard on the front. Cat B is most likely going to be in between 44 and 46 minutes, 3.7 watts per kilogram average. The Cat A women, 43 to 46 minutes at 4.0 watts per kg. Cat C, 48 to 50 minutes at 3.2. And Cat D, 58 to 60 at 2.4. If you couldn't tell, I'm really excited about this punchy Richmond course this week. Going to be a really fun one, lots of team tactics, so many intermediate points up for grabs this week. If you liked the video, please click like and subscribe below. If you have any Zwift tips and tricks that you'd like to see me cover, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. I'll see you next time.